Hey guys, hope you are doing well and staying safe. Welcome to third episode of Gutenberg Sidebar plugin development. In the last episode, we have registered the sidebar in the Gutenberg editor, and today we will see how we can add text field there and save the value through WordPress Metabox. So let's see how. Alright, so today we will start by adding a text field into our sidebar area, and we will save the value. As I have said earlier, we will save our value through metaboxes. So the first thing we need to do is to register a metabox. So let's do that. Let's create a function here first. So we can say like register metaboxes, and we can create a function here, and we can say prefix. The prefix, as you already know, you can add your unique identifier here, so it will not conflict with any other plugins function. So we can say register meta fields like so, right? And what we need to call the register meta function. I'm just copying it out so I can save some time. I will just explain it to you. So register meta is the WordPress function. It accepts some parameters. The first one is in which post screen or in which post type screen you want to edit. So we chose it for post. We can also add it for page as well. And this is the unique meta field in name or key name. Now we have added this underscore before because by adding the underscore with any meta field, we can make it private, so it will not be visible into the public areas. Alright, the next one is an array, and it accepts a couple of things. The first one is show in REST, so we make it true. That means WordPress can access this through the REST API call. And the type is a string, it is single, yes. And sanitized callback, meaning that for validating the strings, we're gonna use sanitized text string function of WordPress. And this is important. I will show you why it is important, this auth callback. It requires a permission to access it through the WordPress Gutenberg editor, because WordPress Gutenberg editor is actually dealing everything with the call of REST API. So you need some sort of a permission to cancel out any third-party action or CORS attack actions. So for that we are using that, and we are using current user can. That means if the editor or the current user has the permission of edit posts, then and only then we can save this value through this. Alright, and the next thing is actually we need to call a add action. And here we are just passing it in init hook, and then we're just adding this function here. Alright, so that's it. That should be enough to add this text field. Now we can actually go into our backend and check whether this text field meta key is added or not. So if we just go inspect and into the console, just cleared everything, and I'm just copying and pasting the thing. Like we can do wp data.select. As you know, these are the WordPress data modules. So we can go like core editor, and then the method name is get edited post attribute, and this will be stored into the meta. Now if I just hit enter, as you can see, it gives us a object, and in which we have this prefix text field that we have just added through this PHP function prefix text field. So that means we are ensuring that our Metabox meta field has been added into the WordPress system. Alright, now the next part will be into the JavaScript section. So let's go back and open the index.js, and we also need to bring something here. from the WP components, and the thing we are gonna bring is the panel body and the text control. Now the panel body I'm using because by which we can actually add a accordion type of different panel sections, which is very helpful. So let's do that. Okay, and now let's take a variable and let's call it plugin metafield, like so, and it will accept the props, right? And then here it will return the other things. And alright, so let's just open the React fragments. So it will be inside in one parent div. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to use is the panel body, like so, and this will accept some attributes. Obviously the first thing will be the title, right? And the title I can give like, let's say, posts meta fields. Okay, and we have the text domain. Let's just copy this here, and the next thing is the icon. Let's add something like admin post. By the way, these icons will be available in the WordPress dash icon page. You can just search for it. And the next thing is initial open. So I will keep it true. That means it will be open by default. Alright, so that's it, the panel. Now if I just go back and hit a refresh, nothing will happen because I have just added these plugins meta fields, but haven't done anything here. So let's do add the text control here. Alright, so this text control will have this self-closing tag, and it will accept some attributes as well. The first one will be the value. So for now let's just make it empty, no comma needed. And the label, right, let's just copy this. Okay, and we can say text field, right, or can say text meta field, like so. And we have also the on change event. So let's keep it commented out for now. Okay, now we just need to use this plugins meta field into our this dummy content. Let's just replace it like this. Now we should see something. If we just hit a refresh, hopefully no error should be coming. Alright, so as you can see, this text meta field is been added. What is this? I think this is from something else. Yeah, this is from something else, so just ignore this one. So this is our meta field that has been added, and this is our panel body. As you can see, it is, collapsing and expanding. So this is it. Now currently it's doing nothing. See, if I try to type something, it's gonna go crazy and throwing me some 10 or some 15 errors. So we will be dealing with this one. Now if I go into the text field, so here we have two things to do. First one is the value, and the second one is the on change event. So for the value, what we need, whatever we're gonna save, we have to display the value, right? So let's first deal with that one. Actually we can do something else. Let's go into the editor, and let's just clear out this error. So if I just recap, as you can remember, with this, if we click enter, we can see this prefix text field and it's empty, the string is empty. But what we can actually do, we can dispatch some value in it. So we can do wp.data.dispatch. okay, and it should be core editor, and here we can say edit post, and inside that we can say meta, right? And for the meta we can say again this prefix text field, and we can assign some value in it. So we can say with the string, let's say some value. So what I'm doing here, let's just expand a bit. So we are doing wp.data.dispatch. Instead of select, we are doing the dispatch of this core editor data module, and it has a function called edit post, which will have the meta object, and inside that meta object there is prefix text field. We can edit it and we can assign some value here. Now if I hit enter, it's gonna trigger. Now how we can justify that this value has been saved? Let's just recall the previous function like wp data select as before, and if we hit enter, now as you can see this sum value has been assigned. Before it was blank, now this sum value has been assigned here. So this value has been just assigned to this prefix text field object, but it is still not being saved into the database yet. So what we can do, we can just click on this publish, or we can also trigger save script from this console. But for now, let's just trigger something from this publish. So you can just manually click on publish. So, or you can just update it whatever you want. Now what is actually happening? So if I just refresh the page, this value should stay. So let's just refresh the page. Now here it will be blank because we have just, you know, let's open it. We have just keep it blank, so it will be blank. But if I try to check the value again with this method, so as you can see the value is being saved. So that means the value is saved into the database in this time. Now what we can do, we can just grab this and let's pass the value here, and into the array we can get the value like this and paste it here. So now this time if I refresh the page, the value should be into the text field as well. See, so the value is into the text field, but if I try to edit it, it will show some errors because we do not have any on-change event assigned. Alright, but actually we will not, assign the value in that way. We have some better ways to do it. So right now I will show it to you. Now what actually we need to do, we need to bring something more. So let's go back. Alright, and let's bring const with select and with dispatch. Now these are the higher order functions. Now what is an higher order function? The function that accepts function as a parameter is called the higher order function. So let's do with the with select now. Alright, so after this variable, let's trigger with select, right? So we can say plugins meta fields equals with select, right? And it will have something inside which is the select itself, and it's gonna return some objects. So inside that we'll have text field, let's take it as a text field. You can took anything actually, so this is the name that I want to get, and as before we can do select, and the module was the core editor, right? And what was the method? If we can remember, the method name was this one, so we can do that, and we can actually grab the whole thing here, right? So just recap what we are actually doing. See, we have done the same thing, WP data select. So we have started here from the select because we already get the with select from the WP data, and from this with select we are passing this select as a parameter, so that's why you are just getting this select function in here. So that means when this returning into the text field value, we will have our desired value, right? But we need to pass it from here through this because it's a higher order function. All right, now how we can access it in this place, right? So it should be pretty simple. Remember, we have these props, so we can actually access everything through these props, like props dot text field. All right, so just a recap before going into the backend. We have just pulled this with select and with dispatch from WP data, and then we just perform some with select action, and we are storing the value into this text field object, and we are triggering this code editor with get edited post attribute meta and then the meta field name. So now if we go back and hit a refresh, we should see the value into the text field. All right, so as you can see, the same value is there, so which is, I think, perfect. Now the next thing is actually taking care of on change event. As you can see, it is already showing us some errors. So for doing that, we actually need to do something with the dispatch. So we'll trigger with dispatch, so we can say plugins meta field, and it will take with dispatch, right? Okay, and it will also need to pass into this meta field, and it will have the parameter of dispatch, right? And surely it will also return some object. All right, and we can say it on text field change, right? And it will have a value obviously, and with that value we can dispatch. So remember what we have done. Let's just bring back. So what we have done this dispatch code editor edit post meta, then the meta field name, and we have assigned some value. So we can do exactly same, but instead of sending the static value, we can send the value that we are getting, right? Okay, now in the similar way we can use this one into this on change through the props. So what we can do here, so when on change triggers, we'll have this value, and we can say props dot on text field change, and here we just pass the value. All right, so that should be it. Pretty simple. And if I just refresh it, all right, so now if I try to edit something, let's say edit it, right? So right now you can see there is no error. So if we just hit update, so the value should be updated. Yes, there is no error. Now if I just hit a refresh, then the value should be updated. and we should see the updated value. Alright, so as you can see, the value is updated, and we can also, let's just delete this. We can also check through this. So if I hit enter, you can see the updated value is there. So that's it for this episode. I hope you liked this episode and it is very helpful to you. And into the next episode we are going to add some more fancy fields like text select control, radio control, some toggle control, maybe the checkbox as well. And finally, maybe after that episode we're going to add a media uploader, so that you can also be able to add the images through it. So see you in the next videos.